Okay, in this video we're going to get our VM set up on our hypervisor. As always, I'll have these links in the description where to download this software. So what we're going to do now is download Windows Server 2022. And we're going to go ahead and load a couple of them up as VMs. So what you want to do is go to this website right here, or the link will be in the description. Go ahead and select Windows Server 2022. It's going to ask you to fill out some garbage. There's also all these other servers on here too if you want to look for trial. But anyway, we're interested in Server 2022. Go ahead and download it into your downloads directory, which I have right here. So I'm going to go ahead and rename it so I know what it is. There we go. So now we have our trial version. Now, this isn't going to matter. You can load any version of software, Windows Server software you want to load. This is going to apply to all of them. There will be a couple little things that are slightly different, but I'll show you as we go. Okay, so once you've got that downloaded, go ahead and log into your VMware. Now remember, if you push Enter, certain browsers will give you an error. So, unless they fix that in 7. I know it does it in 6.7. So, okay, now we're in it. So, the first thing we want to do is we want to go to our storage. And I'm going to use my little data store here. Now, this is the one that the hypervisor is actually loaded on. Go ahead and click on it, and then go to your data store browser. So there we go. In there we're going to create a directory. We're going to call that directory ISO. You can call it software, you can call it whatever. But what we're going to use this as is a repository to store our ISO files, or even, well, basically just ISOs. I don't think we'll need anything else out of it. So, but that's why I call it ISO. So just ISOs would work great. So go ahead and create a directory. Highlight that directory, and we're going to upload a file. And in this file, we're going to go to, not our desktop, we're going to go to our downloads. And we're going to select that download. Now, depending on your network connection, this may take a couple of minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward it. Okay, we've got our ISO uploaded here to our ISO directory. Let's go ahead and create a virtual machine. So you're going to want to click on virtual machines, create and register, create a new, next. I'm going to have a domain controller, excuse me. And I'm going to have the other one, which is going to be an Exchange server. So go ahead and put your name in it. Whatever server you want, doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same. If you're not installing Server 2022, if you're installing something else, this is where you want to change it on your guest OS version. So it doesn't matter what server or even what version of Windows, all of it's going to be the same to this step. So I'm going to select 2022 because that's what I'm running. Go ahead and click Next. This is going to be the data store that you want to install it on. I've got 2 here. So I'm going to put this one on this SSD here. So go ahead and click Next. So we're going to want to select our CPUs. We're going to go ahead and give it 2 CPUs with 2 cores per socket. So there we go. Our memory, we're going to go ahead and set this to gigabytes. I'm going to set this one at 6. It's just a domain controller. It doesn't need to be that much. The hard disk. Okay, here's something you want to pay attention to. So I'm going to set this at 80 for this one. This is the maximum size it can be. This is the maximum size all your drives together can be, no matter how many VMs you got, because that's the size of this drive. Now once you start creating VMs, this number will drop every time you go in here. But if you click this then provision here, and and we load this VM, it's not going to use 80 gigs. It's going to use whatever it needs. And if you create like 8 of these, well, that's going to be more than this combined. And what it'll do is you'll end up running into, say they all grow to the same size. Hang on one second. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, it can grow out of bounds. So say you have 8 of these provisioned at 80 gigs, it'll all fit in here if you've got one that's like 16 gigs and one that's 20 gigs. And they can, if it's set for 80 gigs, it can grow out of bounds, which can be a nightmare because it can really corrupt your data. So I don't even know why they have this in here. You really don't ever want to use it. Now this one, what it'll do is you can create an 80 gig drive and it will only use up to 80 gigs, but this number will continue to go down because it knows that it's going to eventually allocate 80 gigs. It doesn't do it all at once. I don't really suggest using this because it can slow your writes down, because until it grows to this number, the drive's constantly resizing. So I just go ahead and go with thick. It creates the entire allotment of the drive. It's a little slower when creating this VM initially because it's got to write it all out before you can even start the VM. So, but after that, it's fast. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so your network adapter, VM network is fine. We can change all this stuff later, guys. We don't have to do anything now except for this DVD. So you want to choose your data store ISO file, and see how it said data store ISO. So that's why I create an ISO directory, just to kind of make it easier to understand. So go ahead and select it. It makes it flow better. Go ahead and make sure it's connected at power on. It should be checked automatically. Go ahead and click next and finish. Now it's going to write out that drive. As you can see, I've done a few things here already and completely messed up myself, so it happens. But anyway, it's going to write this out. Now, depending on how fast your drive is, this might take some time because it's 80 gigs. So if you've got a spinning drive, it's going to take a little longer than, say, an SSD or an NVMe. So I think it takes about 3 minutes for me, so I'm going to go ahead and pause it until it's done. Okay, so our domain controller finished writing out the drive. We've got it here. It popped up in our virtual machines. Let's go ahead and click on it. You want to click the play button here so it pops up the window. Go ahead and click in the black and then hit the space bar. You would think it would be intuitive enough to know it's there. But anyway, I went ahead and maximized it there. Go on ahead and click next. Install now. Go ahead and let this start up. Just takes a couple of seconds here. So we want to go with the desktop experience right here, server 22. Now I did this earlier and selected this, which you don't want to do because you don't get a desktop. Go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click next. Go ahead and click next. This is your 80 gig drive, which is fully expanded. Go ahead and click next. It's going to go ahead and install. So hit escape to get out. Close it. So yeah, I get in a hurry. I got in a hurry earlier and messed a couple of things up. Anyway, I'm going to create another virtual machine, and this is where I messed up on the drive earlier. So go ahead and click next. This is going to be my Exchange server. It's going to be the same, Windows 2022, next. Same data store. I'm going to go ahead and use 2 there. My memory, I'm going to use 12 gigs on this. This is where I messed up earlier when I created it the first time. I didn't click this. Then I'm going to do this one at 140. Go ahead and get that back down. Our host device, again, is going to be the same ISO file. And you see there how it created the domain controller already, because it's writing it out. Select. Make sure I'm not messing this up again. Okay, yeah. Again, we can change. The only things we can't change is this. Well, that's not true either. We can change that as well. We can change pretty much anything we want. We just can't change it here. We can change it here. If we want to make it bigger later, we can certainly do that. But anyway, okay, go ahead and click next. Go ahead and finish this one. Let's check on our domain controller while this one is writing its drive out. See how we're doing here. 97%. That's pretty quick. Go ahead and show you what unit I'm using here. Go over to our host. So this thing's only a 4-core unit here. Here's the processor. It's not the most powerful thing. It's a little budget unit. But like I said, it's got 10 gig NICs in it. So that's why I really like this. So I'm going to go ahead and let this finish up. And when it does, I'll continue recording. Okay, it's finishing up the install here. Go ahead and let it reboot. Go ahead and restart now. And again, depending on your hard drive speed, this might take a little longer or be a little faster. Now, it is writing out another drive still, as you can see. So that will slow it down some because it is on the same drive. Go ahead and pause it till it completely boots. Okay, we're on the second reboot. Got the devices ready, did the setup. Now it should boot up. Asked me for a password. And you see how much faster it's going now. This other one here completed, so it sped it up significantly. Gonna go ahead and put my password in. This is going to require, I'm gonna click on the box. A complex password. They got to match. Which means one capital, it could be capital password 1, capital P and 1. Okay, so what we have to do now is go up here to Actions, go to Guest OS, Send Keys, Control-Alt-Delete. That'll get us in here. Now, I'm not real sure, but I think once VMware Tools is installed, you don't have to do that. I'm going to put your password in. And there we have it. Tell it no. Want to see this. I'm going to go ahead and tell it I don't want to see this either because I know where to get to it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and close this for a minute because I want to get my other virtual machine started. So let's go ahead and click on that. Click play. Click in the black area with the mouse. Hit the space bar. Go ahead and let it boot up here. Next, same procedure. Install it. This is with pretty much any version of Windows since Windows 7, I believe. I think XP was a little different. It's been a while. We want to do the desktop experience again, because we don't want just a command prompt. We actually want the GUI. I accept. Next. Select the drive. We have our 140 gig drive. Click next. Okay, now we can let that process. Let's go back over to our domain controller. Click on it. I'm going to go ahead and maximize it up here. And did I tell it I didn't want to see this? Server manager properties. I did. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. Okay, so this is going to be a domain controller. I'm going to go ahead and set a static IP on it for you real quick. I'm not going to get into the domain setup or anything till the next video, but we are going to put a static IP on it. Go ahead and open up remote desktop. I'm going to turn off the firewall services for now. Let's go ahead and right click there. Open this. Go to your Ethernet. Go to change your adapter options. Right click on this. Go to properties. I'm going to take IPv6 out. Not going to use it. Double click on your IPv4. 1.1.151. 1.1.1. And we're going to go ahead and use that right now for our DNS. Tell it okay. Okay. And close it. Go ahead and close it. We should get our internet back, and we did. So we want to enable remote desktop. Go ahead and open your file folder, right click this PC. There's a million ways to skin this cat. Go to properties. I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to remote desktop. We're going to enable remote desktop. Turn it on. Confirm. Okay, keep yes, yes. Okay. We're going to go ahead and check that real quick as well. Go to your control panel. I'm old school, so I'm going to small icons. Because I know sometimes in VMs it'll leave it on. Go to power options, change plan settings. Okay, that's fine. Sometimes the hard drive's there and it'll turn it off. Okay, so that's it. One more thing. Go back to control panel, firewall. I'm going to turn mine off. You do you. Right now I don't need it. Turn off. Turn on. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm on a private network, so you don't really have to click them both. Tell it okay. Close it. We're going to go ahead and reboot this guy. Restart anyway. Oh, we do need to do one more thing. So let's go ahead and let this thing reboot. See how fast it reboots while it's installing Windows. Should be a little quicker. It really, yeah. See, that's pretty quick. I want to do one more thing. Oh, this is so annoying. Escape. We're going to install VMware tools. So go ahead and click Actions, Guest OS, Install VMware tools. Go ahead and click Actions again, Guest OS. This is one of the most annoying things. Control Alt Delete. Okay, so put in your password. Go ahead and I'm going to do a couple of things real quick. I'm I'm gonna turn off my search bar. There we go. That's annoying. Okay. Your VMware tools should be in here now. Go ahead and run setup 64. If it doesn't auto start, this will install all the latest network drivers, video drivers, and everything for the base OS. You want to go ahead and do a typical install on it. Next, install it. Yeah, especially because we got 10 gig NICs in it. It looks like it already picked it up. Now, if you're running version 6.7 and it doesn't pick up your 10 gig NIC, that's why. Let's look at the. Let's take a real quick look at this. Let's go to Ethernet, change adapter options. Go to status and see what it says. See, it says 1 gig. Let's see if it changes. Actually, you know what? We're going to tell it we don't want to restart. We're going to shut it down. And we're going to see if it changed. Okay, it shut down. So let's wait for it to power off here. Is it not? Yeah, okay, it just didn't refresh over here. So let's go back to it. Go ahead and edit it. And let's see if our network adapter changed. Yes, we want to change it to VMXnet 3. Now this is only applicable if you have 10 gig NICs. Go ahead and save it. Power it back on. Well, you probably should do it anyway, even if you have 1 gig NICs. Okay, it's booted up. Let's see if the remote desktop works. So we're going to click on Start, MSTSC. To 51. Now, why did I choose 151? Because this is 50. And let's make sure I did that right. Yeah. Still have to click it. That's annoying. Control-Alt-Delete. Seems like my 6.7 doesn't do that. Go ahead and check that setting real quick. Ethernet, change adapter options. Let's go ahead and look at the status of it now. It should say 10 gig. 10 gigs. Okay. So, it changed I took my IP address away when it put the new adapter in. That's a bummer. But quick fix. Do you want to remove the? Yes, I do want to remove it for the missing adapter. So let's try it now. There we go. Go ahead, and there we go. We've got remote desktop. So that's it. That's how you set up a server on VMware. I'm going to go ahead and finish up the other one off screen. The next video is going to be about turning it into a domain controller and setting up Exchange. So if this video is all helpful for you, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to see more. Thanks for watching my video.